All right, should be good to go.
Thank you. We appreciate it. So hello, my name is Joe Taylor, and I'm going to present information about our Apalachicola Bay Aquaculture Pilot Project. So as I said, I'm the Executive Director of Franklin's Promise Coalition. We're a nonprofit based in Franklin County, Florida. We're a 21-year-old community-based nonprofit whose mission is to address gaps in services and unmet needs in our communities. Our primary focus is to eliminate multi-generational poverty through youth empowerment and education. Historically, we are a fishing community. Oysters are our heritage. We operate youth conservation corps across North Florida, and Oyster Corps is one of our primary projects. For this project, our efforts partnered with over 20 agencies, organizations, and businesses, but I would like to feature some of our primary partners. First off is the Florida Department of Agriculture, the Division of Aquaculture. Dr. Marcy Cockrell was key to our project development, and recently she has accepted a new position with NOAA Fisheries. She's joined us today. Following through for FDACS is Katrina Bayless. Katrina serves as the education lead, and our next door neighbor and our longest program partner is the Apalachicola National Estuarine Research Reserve, represented today by Anita Grove, the Coastal Program Training Coordinator. The heart of our project was facilitated by our aquaculture professionals, Mr. Jeff Wren and his business partner, Mr. Todd Bracken, and there was now Rattlesnake Cove Oyster Company. And of great value to our program was a key relationship with the FSU Marine or Coastal and Marine Laboratory, Dr. Sandra Brooke. I also want to note that joining me is Mr. Austin Totten, and Austin is a participant as well as completer of our program. And now he serves as a leader for this year's, the next stages. So next slide, please. I would like to share one of our project deliverables. Our Ed Corps High School students were responsible to document their aquaculture experience and produce this video. So this is one of their products. And so we'd like to share the video. So my name is Joe Taylor, and I'm the Executive Director for Franklin's Promise Coalition. So one of the
You still watching the video?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
I think we lost the audio.
Yeah, the sound cut out for me too.
Work with Oyster Corps. I've helped in the process of oyster growth.
My name is Jeff Wren. I am the owner and operator of Rattlesnake Cove Oyster Company in Apalachicola Bay, where I have an oyster aquaculture lease. Aquaculture is the cultivation. It's oyster aquaculture.
First, we make the cages. Then we get on the boat and put the baby oysters in the baskets we previously made. After that, we close the cages and place them in the water. Then they grow ready to be taken out. Once taken out, they're sold in the public and are super tasty.
I'm Kim Miller. I'm the Assistant Manager at the Apalachicola National Estuarine Research Reserve. The Oyster Corps is building oyster reefs in Apalachicola Bay, and it's valuable to our community. Oyster shells from our local restaurants keep the material out of the landfill and returns it to our local waters. Recycled shell is placed in the sun to cure for at least a year, then it's placed in bags, and these may consist of wire mesh or burlap or jute material, and then the bags are placed along the shoreline. So essentially what we want to see happen next is that oyster larvae that are already in the water column will settle on this hard substrate and continue to for the material that the recycled shells are in. All of this helps us put this material back in the bay to help restore this habitat and create living shorelines.
Thank you. So if we move to the next slide. So my name is Joe Taylor, and I'm the Executive Director for Franklin's Promise Coalition. All right, and Anita is going to take this slide for us.
Okay, Anita Grove with the Estuarine Research Reserve. This is a great project. What we achieved was a lot of public engagement. Our Estuaries Day was one of the biggest events, 400 people, and then our Florida Seafood Festival, over 30,000 people over 2 days. And we served about 450 oysters at those events that the kids grew. So training and workforce development, they were able to get real life experience, building the cages, putting the cages out on the water, and also putting the oysters in the cages and then going back out, managing the oysters. Over 11,760 oysters were brought to market. One of the greatest outcomes was a partnership with the Florida State University Coastal Marine Lab. We had 4 internships, and out of those 4 internships, we actually were able to get 2 full-time positions with benefits. So we're very pleased with that. Our Landon Millender was one of the students that has been placed full-time. So you'll see his quotes there. Oyster course taught me the networking skills and how to set personal goals and objectives. And working at the lab has provided him with a lot of new skills. So we're very proud of that. Joe?
Thank you, Anita. So we're going to move to the next part, and Katrina, you're going to share the next slide.
Hi, I'm Katrina Bayless from the Division of Aquaculture. As Anita said before, part of the deliverables on this was really getting the students to interact with the public, both as, you know, engagements in person, but also what we call digital engagement, right? So we wanted to kind of make these digital outreach platforms, as you just saw the video that was made by one of the participants in the program. This also included social media posts and stuff like that. You can see the numbers on there. We had over 1,400 engagements. So that means that people physically clicked on these things that were coming through their screen. But that being said, over 21,000 people saw these going through their feeds, which is pretty impressive numbers, considering, again, this is student and participant-based programs. We were able to release some press releases through FDACS, as well as get some local news coverage by local affiliates, and produce a blog from this story. And congratulations to everybody for the Core Network Program of the Year Award. I know Joe's very, very happy about that. And like has been said in previous talks, is that one of the best parts about this program was really expanding the partnerships between, you know, industry and academia, state entities and nonprofit programs, and the list just keeps going. You'll see all the images and the logos at the end. But it was really great to get these students out there meeting the stakeholders in this industry and really get them involved past this project.
Thank you, Katrina. Dr. Cockrell's going to take the next step. The next slide for us, and everything has some challenges, but the benefits were much greater.
That's right. Thank you, Joe. And I'm really happy to be here to present on this today. Like Joe said at the beginning, I'm now with the NOAA Fisheries Office of Aquaculture, but I was with FDACS for the inception and carrying out of this project. And I was really happy to be a part of it. It was quite a joy to be part of Oyster Corps. So some of our main challenges were scheduling. We had a variety of partners and scheduling around the students. You know, their school schedules made it challenging, but we were able to make it work. And the weather, of course, was part of that scheduling challenge. We were outside working on the water. And so it presented some challenges sometimes. But again, the opportunities were much greater than the challenges. So partnerships and relationship building were really a huge piece of this project, not just, you know, to get it started and carried out, but growing those relationships during the project. Particularly building capacity and interest among partners to look at the relationship between habitat restoration and aquaculture. So in that video that we showed, you know, there was mention, of course, of, you know, living shorelines and oyster restoration. So making that linkage was really important. And I know there's some more in the works from Oyster Corps on that front. The interest in the project was really enhanced by social media. As Katrina noted, we had a lot of engagement there. And we also thought, you know, it was really important to leverage our various partners to get the word out about the project, as well as local communications connections. So again, that local media, the news coverage, and using different outlets like AINER's Sci Cafe platform, where the Corps presented on their project. So again, another great way that they were able to get the word out to the local community about what they're doing and build interest and awareness and build that literacy for the community about aquaculture.
Fantastic. The next slide's for Anita, and she's going to talk about what our vision is for the future.
Looking ahead, we have 2 large grants pending, and we'd like to expand the program and our outreach. Our community is just transitioning from wild caught into trying to do more aquaculture. It's cultural. There's some cultural things that are a little bit of a barrier, but we're moving that direction, and expanding our partnerships and mentorships throughout the state with other like-minded organizations throughout the Panhandle.
Okay. Well, thank you. And so I'm going to wrap it up, but I would like to kind of, again, go back and acknowledge one of the really important things that happened, and to bring things full circle, is Anita had mentioned that one of the outcomes was that through the internship program, 2 of the 4 young men who participated are now in full-time positions, you know, with a nice sustainable wage and full benefits. And so that really is the blessing and the focus of our mission and purpose to be involved, is because young people who have seafood heritage have an opportunity to work in this new fledgling industry and to be sustainable and to be leaders for the next group that's coming along. And with that said, that's why I asked Austin to pop in, because Austin too did an internship. And he is now the crew leader for the current group. So he is mentoring the next group. And in fact, some of our students who are currently doing the programs are online watching the presentations as well. So I'll give a nod to them. They're waving to you there. So in the Q&As, you can include some of the young people. So we are ready for questions, and we are so grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Joe, and everyone else on your team. It's really great to hear all of the great impacts that you had on the young folks in the region. If anyone has any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box or speak up. We have about 3 minutes for questions, so plenty of time if you want to ask some folks some things. So you just had a compliment from Louisa Koch, who's the director of the Office of Education at NOAA. She says, great presentation. Caitlin is asking, well, first, what a great program. And she's wondering, do the participants do any presentations at school to engage other students?
Well, yes. So Austin, here's what's going to happen. So we just met 3 days ago with our local public school high school teacher. And so, yes, we will be introducing them in 2 weeks. We're going to start with Spartina and marsh restoration. And by this time next year, we will be doing full oyster biology and aquaculture and including them. So we're hoping that those grants we have will allow us to expand the program. If that happens, we will be able to engage 90 young people across our region in this same experience, or an expanded experience, actually.
Yeah, and Joe, I'll add on to that. The participants also are the ones that did the presentations, and they were encouraged to do presentations for the general public. So I believe they participated in the Sci Cafes and stuff like that as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Great, and the compliments keep rolling in. Marcy from the project just put a link in the chat box if anyone's interested in reading about the Program of the Year award. Kevin from Moat is saying, great job reaching out to the Apalachicola oyster fishermen and helping them to see the benefits of aquaculture is a major accomplishment. And with that, oh, go ahead, Jeff.
If I may say, as a community coalition, we've been involved with the displaced seafood workers since the fishery failure in 2012. And so these are the children and the grandchildren of the oyster fishermen who were displaced back then. So it's really rewarding work to see them be able to participate in the new economy.
All right, if there are no other questions, give a chance to, is it Austin? Did you want to share anything about your experience before we move on to the next presentation?
Experience with the Marine Lab or in
sure.
Oyster Corps? Well, my experience at Oyster Corps, it's mainly just been learning everything that you need to know to go ahead in life, and the Marine Lab taught me a lot of stuff about oysters that I never knew could even be true.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing, Austin. Sorry for putting you on the spot.
He's used to it.
All right.
You gotta be used to it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.